Disclaimer: I do not speak Korean nor have a KR Lost Ark account, so all footage will be from Powdersnow. I linked all of his links and the VODs I took footage from down below. This guide will cover all major mechanics and normal patterns for Act 4 Gate 1, and will also cover some differences between hard mode and normal mode for major mechanics. Bring Dark, Astral, and Sacred if you want. Echidna teleports to the center of the arena, spawning 4 clones in plus or X directions. Echidna then charges up a lethal attack, requiring the players to be in the safe spot created by the clones to survive. To resolve, pair up members by numbers with each pair in charge of the X-free and +1 position depending on the clone spawns. After the lethal attack, the clones will assign each pair 1 reticle and 1 spotlight randomly. The spotlighted player will be chased by the clone after a short targeting period, while the reticle player will be followed by a slow-moving orb that explodes into a big AoE attack after collision with anyone or expiration. The spotlighted player should dodge the final steps of the clone as they create explosions that knock you down and combo you into the final explosion after their landing, requiring a typing test if hit. The goal is to guide the clone to a safe and easy to execute for later spot, as you will repeat this mech possibly multiple times. Korea pugs usually go to the edge of the arena, and you have to do all of this without colliding any clones with each other, or else it is a wipe. Each player pairing should remember their respective clone position, as that is where they will appear the next time the mech happens. This mech will happen at least one more time because it is forced right after 150x, but this is a soft periodical mech that happens roughly every 2 minutes after the first time. This means that DPS can change the timing of the repetitions or skip the repetitions entirely. Here are examples of min clear, homework DPS, and skip DPS. Things to note: anytime you free yourself from a charm in this gate, you are inflicted with a 30-second 20% defense reduction debuff with max stack of 1. Each clone unattended in this mech gives the raid 1 stack of slowness, and that clone will shoot out hearts for the rest of the mech. If there's more than 2 people in a safe spot, only one will get the spotlight and the rest will get the reticle. If there's only one person in a safe spot, it is guaranteed to be a spotlight. Echidna teleports to the middle, requiring a stagger check while making a safe area around her. Anyone standing outside will take heavy tick damage and be inflicted with an uncleansable blindness for 10 seconds. Echidna will repeatedly spawn 2 clock position adjacent clones in plus or X directions. These clones will perform dashes toward their opposite clock direction simultaneously, which will knock people in their path and explode after landing, requiring a typing test if hit. After the stagger, pay attention to the shadow on the floor, as Echidna will either do a 4 clones or 2 clones pattern. For 4 clones, move to the edge of the safe zone on the side where the shadow originated. For 2 clones, follow the shadow's feet until the end to dodge both the cone and the hearts. After the intermission attack, Echidna will spawn 4 clones alternating between fans patterns and ring patterns. A shadow will be shown on the floor performing the same action as one of the 4 clones. Just guard in the direction of the real clone after its pause leading into a final swing animation. The real clone will then appear in the same corner inside the safe zone, requiring a free-man co-op counter, or else it is a wipe. This process happens once more, with the second intermission attack being the one she hasn't done. To recap, that means you have to perform the stagger check, intermission attack, guard into co-op, intermission attack, guard into co-op. After the post-shadow cutscene, Echidna summoned her snakes to attack similar to Thirain 4-2 Stagger. After her attacks, she targets a person and jumps onto them, requiring a 2-man co-op counter. You can dodge however you like, but the most important thing is to be grouped up with at least another player, as she appears quickly after. Echidna gains a massive shield while periodically spawning clones that releases jump rope that inflicts charm and requiring a typing test to be freed. She will also periodically target 2 to 3 people to release Agris after them, dealing high damage. These can also damage you while you charm. The goal is to collect petals on the ground, which grant a spacebar reset buff, stacking up to 3 times to help you dodge, and this also decreases her damage reduction buff by 1 stack per petal. Hard mode starts with 80 stacks, while normal mode she only starts with 50 stacks. This is a timed DPS check starting at the beginning of the mech, and you want to collect the petals as fast as you can to remove her damage reduction. Then send darks, atrals, sidereals, or hypers, depending on how geared your group is. Nineveh is usually used here along with a follow-up because you get 2 Sidereals bar back for completing this mechanic. Make sure to use the Nineveh after the DR is gone. After the post-jump rope cutscene, there is a scripted 4 clones that will always happen. The mechanic stays the same, but Echidna will now release a jump rope starting from the center once during the mechanic. If this mechanic happens again after 150x, she will always release a jump rope from the center. After this, simply push Echidna to 30x to trigger the last phase. You can use any sidereal bars you have before entering, as you will gain at least 4 sidereal bars right after the last phase starts. You simply fight Pro Xayah with some slight changes to her patterns and push her to 400x, succeed the stagger check while doing Chzzk guard, and that will be the end of Gate 1. Ring Throw Counter Variation 1. Echidna performs 2 swing, then proceed to throw a ring in front of her, creating a big ticking AoE. After she retrieves her ring by pulling it back, she'll be available to be countered still facing in the same direction the ring was thrown. If the counter fails, she does a cone-shaped fan attack in front of her that knocks people down. For the second variation, the pattern is the same up until she retrieves her ring. This time, rather than pulling it back, Echidna dashes toward her ring to grab it, then turns 180 for a counter. Echidna swings twice in each direction and performs a stunning AoE attack, immediately available for counter after while still facing in the same direction. Echidna quickly spins backwards, which is a knockup, then she charges forward again to grab in a straight line, requiring a counter after. If the counter fails, she throws a grab target in the air and creates expanding ring explosions from herself. Echidna steps back and swings around her while spawning flowers as stuns. She then charges forward to her target after a short period. She repeats her action one more time but is available for a counter after her second backstep. This is a targeted counter, so simply group up. Echidna turns towards the target to kick, then dashes in that direction for a counter. Echidna rolls her ring forward, then she performs a guardable pizzas plus ring attack that is always outside X position safe, followed by inside cross position safe. Echidna scatters blooming flowers as stuns, then she picks a target to dive bomb towards, which is guardable, ending with an inside safe donut attack. Echidna picks a target and spins toward the direction, splitting into 3 clones after. These clones mirror each other, starting off by shooting outward from their fan as they sidestep. You can determine the real clone by counting the number of waves shot out by it. In this example, both the top and the bottom right only shows 1 wave each coming from their direction. It will be easier to see in a second as we zoom in on the wave and let the footage play, but the bottom left clone shot out 2 waves in the shape of an X. Afterwards, the clone will do their final attack, but only the real clone will do damage in a giant AoE, which can be prevented by guarding in its direction as it lands. Echidna picks a target, spinning in that direction and attacking in a donut shape. She then picks a target again, then attacking a big AoE that is guardable. Agris and his shadow alternate between attacking horizontally and vertically, guarding the direction it's coming from after the indicator fills up. Echidna performs 4 rounds of rotating cone attacks while also tracking a target. She then jumps towards that target, carrying anyone close to her up in the air. Echidna summoned tornadoes around her as she performed 2 targeted cone attacks. Her final attack will be a screen-wide knockup as she slams her fans down. You can take the tornadoes to avoid damage or just push immune. Back save. Back save. Back save. Echidna attacks with both her fans, alternating vertically and horizontally. Echidna jumps forward and slams down in front of her, followed by a secondary donut explosion surrounding her initial slam. Echidna flies up in the air and attacks with 2 giant intersecting waves, leaving a quarter safe spot. Echidna lifts her ring up to one side and slam the other, indicating the safe spot for her follow-up screen-wide AoE. Echidna summons falling clones as she attacks in a giant semicircle starting from the front to the back. Echidna leaves her ring in place and jumps back as she retrieves it, followed up by another ring throw in front. She then finally tracks the target and charges up for her final swing in front of her, which is a larger ring that knocks up. Echidna shows the direction of her second and third waves indicated by the first two pink mist. Then she attacks with her first wave in the opposite direction of the third wave. Looking at this example here, this is actually enough information shown for the rest of the attack. Her first pink mist is on our left, and we see the start of the real indicator of her first attack on the bottom right. Since we know that the first and third attack are opposites of each other, the fourth side, which is the opposite of the first pink mist, is never hit, so just keep that in mind. Similar to Thirain Draven, but her last line indicates the direction that she will jump backwards to, followed up by a cone attack in front of her as she lands. Echidna clutters the area with stun flowers as she charges up a push attack. She then immediately grabs with Agris in an inside safe donut, followed by Agris slamming the grab individuals. This pattern ends immediately if no one is grabbed. Echidna summons small stunning rings on her back right and front left. She then steps back and pushes all rings forward, pulling them back after a short duration to release one big ring, which is a knockup. Echidna summons either the real Agris or the shadow version to coil around her. If it's the real Agris, it's front back safe. If it's the shadow version, it's 11-1 safe. Echidna summons the Shadow, then the real Agris, which can hit you on its way into the ground. Both snakes then jump out to attack in a Venn Diagram. Dodge the Venn Diagram first, then follows the snake with the glowing red eyes into the safe spot for the final attack. After 150x, Echidna clones will periodically spawn randomly on the map, releasing a jump rope that charms you, requiring a typing test to be freed. You can use Spacebar or an appropriate movement skill. Post 150x, counters and guard also give you one stack of charm immunity, which is not stacked any higher. This lets you ignore one jump rope. Echidna disappears and spawn free clones as a shrinking jump rope will enclose on the real one. Stay close and jump out in time to make it back inside safely before the final attack. Same as Spacebar Counter, but instead of countering, guards toward the center of the attack as it fills up. Echidna attack in a giant black net pattern that stuns you. She then jumps up again, simply guard towards her after her air flip. Group up along the yellow indicator to either edge of the arena. Guard towards the direction where Agris is coming from as the red indicator finishes, then stay together for a 2-man co-op counter. Same as Backstep Counter, but guard. Stagger Echidna as you avoid the Medusa coming from the red snake symbol. Echidna shoots out 2 rounds of 2 orbs in opposite directions. Each orb explodes into a giant chomp attack. Echidna splits into 3 clones and moves away into a triangular formation while selecting 3 reticle targets. All 3 clones then shoot out small rings toward the center of their formation, which will bounce off each other by 60 degrees, essentially covering 6 points of a hexagon. Afterwards, all clones charges up for the final ring attack, each throwing a big ring at the respective target that knocks up and can combo off each other. 2 players will be sent inside while 6 players will stay outside. The positions of the white snakes will be different for both dimensions, and the goal is to find the one overlapping white snakes before the Medusa happens. The 2 inside will want to look at the snake, while the 6 outside should treat all white snakes as Medusas and look at the black snake or any other empty spot. If done correctly, the 2 inside will be petrified but shielded and transported outside, and the 6 players outside should stay grouped and hide behind the shielded players relative to the black snake. The black snake would then shoot out a knockdown laser that can only be mitigated by having the special shield, followed up by Echidna picking a player immediately after for a quick co-op counter.